Well, hello there. This is Richard, and thanks very much for joining me tonight. I thought we would do something a little different today on soft-spoken stories. It seems to me that hearing encouraging words on a regular basis is important, so I thought it would be nice to read some inspirational quotes. These are from a variety of folks, with some quotes being relatively recent and others being not so recent. For the photographs you'll be seeing, the photos don't relate to the quotations, but I tried to choose pleasant and interesting things to look at. I hope you can take encouragement from some and hopefully all of the quotes. I do appreciate any feedback and comments, so if you would, please let me know your thoughts. For now, let's get started with some soft-spoken, inspirational quotes, which are not in any particular order. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "If life were predictable, it would cease to be life and be without flavor." Robert Louis Stevenson said, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant." The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Nelson Mandela. Never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game, and that is by Babe Ruth. Thomas Edison said, "Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up." The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Walt Disney. Life itself is the most wonderful fairy tale. Hans Christian Andersen. Steve Jobs said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking." He also said, "If you look really closely, most overnight successes took a long time." Wayne Gretzky said, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Henry Ford said that. According to Mark Twain, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So, throw off the bow lines, sail away from safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. Mark Twain also said, "Stay away from those people who try to disparage your ambitions. Small minds will always do that, but great minds will give you a feeling that you can become great too." It is better to fail in originality than to succeed in imitation. Herman Melville. Calvin Coolidge said, "Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful people with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. The slogan, 'Press on,' has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race." Another former president, Thomas Jefferson, said, "I'm a great believer in luck, and I find the harder I work, the more I have of it." Don't let yesterday take up too much of today. Will Rogers. Opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. Thomas Edison. Dale Carnegie said, "The successful person will profit from his mistakes and try again in a different way." Winnie the Pooh said, "People say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day." It is never too late to be what you might have been. George Eliot. It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. And that is from Confucius. Charles Schulz said, "What's the good of living if you don't try a few things?" Neil deGrasse Tyson said, "For me, I am driven by two main philosophies: know more today about the world than I knew yesterday, and lessen the suffering of others. You'd be surprised how far that gets you." Maya Angelou said, "Ask for what you want, and be prepared to get it." Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Whatever you do, you need courage. Whatever course you decide upon, there is always someone to tell you that you are wrong. There are always difficulties arising that tempt you to believe your critics are right. To map out a course of action and follow it to an end requires some of the same courage that a soldier needs. Peace has its victories, but it takes brave men and women to win them." Ralph Waldo Emerson also said, "Write it on your heart that every day is the best day in the year." Marilyn Monroe said, "Just because you fail once, it doesn't mean you're going to fail at everything. Keep trying, hold on, and always, always, always believe in yourself, because if you don't, then who will? So keep your head high, keep your chin up, and most importantly, keep smiling, because life's a beautiful thing, and there's so much to smile about." Carl Jung said, "Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness, and the word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. It is far better to take things as they come, along with patience and equanimity." So that's my wish for you and all of us, and my wish for myself. Make new mistakes. Make glorious, amazing mistakes. Make mistakes nobody's ever made before. Don't freeze. Don't stop. Don't worry that it isn't good enough or it isn't perfect. Whatever it is, art or love or work or family or life. Neil Gaiman. Maya Angelou said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." John Lennon said, "When I was 5 years old, my mother always told me that happiness was the key to life. When I went to school, they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wrote down, happy. They told me I didn't understand the assignment, and I told them they didn't understand life. When one door of happiness closes, another opens, but often we look so long at the closed door that we do not see the one that has been opened for us." Helen Keller. I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do. Leonardo da Vinci. Albert Einstein said, "A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new." Jesse Owens said, "The battles that count aren't the ones for gold medals. The struggles within yourself, the invisible battles inside all of us, that's where it's at. I have never met a man so ignorant that I couldn't learn something from him. Galileo Galilei. Robert Frost wrote, "Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference." When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. Marcus Aurelius. Nathaniel Hawthorne said, "Happiness is like a butterfly, which, when pursued, is always beyond our grasp, but, if you will sit down quietly, may alight upon you." A. Milne wrote, "You're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think." The great thing in this world is not so much where you stand as in what direction you are moving. Oliver Wendell Holmes. The difference between a successful person and others is not lack of strength, not a lack of knowledge, but rather a lack of will. Vince Lombardi. Milton Berle said, "If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door." Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. Arthur Ashe. Dolly Parton said, "If you don't like the road you're walking, start paving another one." Take chances, make mistakes. That's how you grow. Pain nourishes your courage. You have to fail in order to practice being brave. Mary Tyler Moore. Michael Jordan said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt. Another quote from Vince Lombardi, "Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence." Stephen Covey said, "I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions." Rosa Parks said, "I have learned over the years that when one's mind is made up, this diminishes fear." And finally, James Barrie said, "Life is a long lesson in humility." Well, we'll stop there for tonight. I sure hope you've enjoyed the inspirational quotes. I do appreciate feedback, so if you would, please consider leaving a comment. This is Richard saying thanks very much for listening. You take care of yourself, and I look forward to reading to you next time.